The Indianapolis Colts are in the middle of a massive personnel transformation, and the ripple effects are being felt throughout the locker room right now. We are tracking significant moves on both sides of the ball that signal a clear shift in strategy for the upcoming season. From major defensive investments to departures that will leave fans questioning the front office's long-term plan, there is a lot to unpack. If you love the Colts and want to stay ahead of every breaking update, help us hit 1,000 subscribers by hitting that button below.
The Colts have made a definitive statement regarding their defensive front, pulling the trigger on a massive $17.5 million deal to bring in a legitimate pass rushing force. This is not just a depth signing. This is a tactical move designed to address one of the most glaring weaknesses that plagued the team throughout the previous campaign. When you look at the landscape of the AFC South, you realize that games are won and lost in the trenches. By securing a player who has already proven his ability to disrupt the pocket with 8.5 sacks, the front office is clearly prioritizing pressure rates and third down efficiency. From my conversations inside the building, the focus was entirely on finding a player who fits the scheme perfectly rather than just chasing big names. The coaching staff has been vocal about wanting more physicality up front, and this move delivers exactly that. It is a high-stakes bet on production, but it is one that reflects the urgency of a team that knows it is on the cusp of contention. Critics might argue about the price tag, but in today's NFL, you have to pay a premium for consistent edge disruption. This signing changes the math for how opposing quarterbacks will have to prepare for the Colts defense. It sends a message that the defensive line is no longer just a rotation, but a primary weapon. The analytical data shows that increasing sack production by even a small margin correlates directly with a higher defensive turnover rate, something this team desperately needs to capitalize on. I have covered this team long enough to know that when the organization commits this kind of capital, they expect immediate returns. The pressure is now on the coaching staff to utilize this asset in a way that maximizes his distinct pass rush profile. We are talking about a player who can win one-on-one battles consistently, which opens up opportunities for the interior linemen to thrive as well. It is a domino effect of productivity that starts with this single acquisition. This is the kind of aggressive maneuvering that defines successful offseasons. However, while the excitement in the facility is palpable regarding this defensive upgrade, the front office is dealing with a much more sobering reality on the back end of their defense. As we look at the financial implications of this contract, we have to wonder how it impacts the team's ability to retain their own foundational pieces in the secondary. The shift from investing in the front seven to potentially sacrificing depth in the defensive backfield is a trend that is already beginning to manifest in ways that might surprise you. If you are wondering how this massive deal fits into the broader salary cap puzzle, you need to see who is on the way out of town.
If you want to keep getting exclusive insights and deep dives like this, subscribe now and join the community of Colts fans who demand the truth about their team. Don't miss a single update.
The narrative of the offseason has shifted from the excitement of the pass rush signing to the harsh reality of roster attrition. We are now confirming that the secondary is losing a massive amount of production with the departure of a safety who has recorded 322 tackles. This is a significant blow to the heart of the defense, and it is a move that has left many in the organization questioning the strategic balance of the roster. When you lose a player who acts as the primary communicator in the secondary, you aren't just losing a set of stats, you are losing a foundational element of the defensive scheme. This safety was not just a tackler, he was the glue that held the back end together during critical moments. From a tactical standpoint, his departure creates a massive void that cannot be filled by a single draft pick or a low-budget free agent. The Commanders are getting a player who understands the nuances of coverage and has the rare ability to play downhill against the run with absolute conviction. The irony here is that while the team is investing heavily in the front seven to generate pressure, they are simultaneously losing the reliability in the secondary that allows those pressure packages to be effective. If you don't have the back-end support, even the best pass rush in the league becomes vulnerable to quick game concepts and clever route combinations. This is the kind of roster management that keeps general managers awake at night. The financial math of the NFL is unforgiving, and unfortunately, this is the cost of doing business in a salary-capped league. You simply cannot keep everyone, and sometimes tough decisions are made that prioritize other positions at the expense of established veterans. My sources indicate that the conversations regarding his future were ongoing for weeks, and while there was an attempt to find a middle ground, the market for his services proved to be too robust for the team's current fiscal constraints. It is a loss that will be felt throughout the locker room culture as much as it is felt on the stat sheet. Players look for leadership in the defensive backfield, and he provided that in spades. As we analyze the team's trajectory, we have to ask if this loss is a calculated risk or a failure in talent retention. The departure of such a productive veteran naturally leads us to look at the younger players who are now being asked to step into significant roles. It is a period of transition that tests the depth of the entire roster. The question now becomes, who will take the mantle of leadership in the secondary now that this anchor is gone? As we look at the ripple effects of this move, we are also seeing other significant shifts in the secondary that you absolutely need to be aware of right now.
The turnover in the secondary has officially reached a critical point today. The team has confirmed that safety Rodney Thomas II has signed with the Seattle Seahawks, adding even more uncertainty to the defensive backfield. This is not just another move. It is a clear indicator that the organization is undergoing a total reconstruction of its secondary philosophy. When you lose a player like Rodney Thomas II, who was developed within the system and understood the specific requirements of the defensive scheme, you are losing continuity. His transition to Seattle is a testament to his value, and it leaves the Colts scrambling to find players who can match his versatility. My analysis of the situation suggests that this was not the preferred outcome for the front office, but rather a consequence of the current market environment and the team's overall financial strategy. The dominoes are falling quickly, and we are seeing a complete overhaul of the defensive personnel that started with the pass rush investment and has now cascaded into a secondary exodus. It is impossible to ignore the emotional impact this has on the team. You lose your reliable tacklers, and then you lose your homegrown talent, all in the same window. The fans are rightfully concerned about how these pieces will fit together by the time training camp opens. From a tactical perspective, the Colts are now forced to lean heavily on unproven commodities. This is a high-risk strategy that could either yield a rejuvenated and faster defense or lead to significant communication breakdowns on the field. The coaching staff is now faced with the monumental task of installing a new culture in the secondary during a very short offseason window. The departure of Rodney Thomas II specifically highlights the difficulty of keeping a roster together when you have multiple players hitting the market at once. It forces a complete reassessment of the team's strengths and weaknesses. I have spoken with people close to the situation who acknowledge that the team is now in a state of flux. They are aggressively trying to fill these gaps, but finding talent that can replace both the physical production and the mental acuity of the departed players is a massive challenge. We are looking at a defense that will look completely different in several key spots, and that is going to require a lot of patience from the fan base. The question for everyone watching is whether the investment in the defensive front can actually carry the weight of a secondary that is clearly in a state of transition. This is the moment where the front office will either be vindicated for their bold strategy or forced to answer for a lack of depth. We are monitoring the situation closely to see if there are any further moves to solidify the back end, because as of right now, the roster has more questions than answers. This is a pivotal moment for the Colts. We have seen a high-impact arrival on the defensive line and a gut-wrenching departure of two key pieces in the secondary. The front office is clearly gambling on a new defensive identity, but the roster is still very much in flux. As an insider, I can tell you that the next few weeks will be just as chaotic as these last few days. We are going to continue tracking every move to see how this defense comes together. I want to hear from you. Do you think the investment in the defensive front makes up for the losses in the secondary, or are you worried about the pass coverage? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. See you in the next report.